In the 13th century, a group of nomads with no cities, no castles, and no written language killed more people than any army in history. They destroyed entire civilizations. They conquered more land than Rome ever dreamed of. And they did it faster than anyone thought possible. Who were these people? How did riders from the cold, empty steppe become the most terrifying force the world has ever seen? This is the story of the Mongols, and once you understand how they fought, you'll realize the world was never prepared for what was coming. But that's not even the most unsettling part. Before the Mongols, empires rose slowly. They expanded carefully. They relied on walls, traditions, and time. The Mongols shattered that rule. In less than 70 years, they built the largest land empire in human history, stretching from Korea to Eastern Europe. They didn't just conquer territory. They erased resistance. This isn't just a story of brutality. It's a story of strategy, speed, intelligence, and fear used as a weapon. And by the end of this documentary, you'll understand why the word Mongol still echoes like a warning through history. The Mongols came from the steppe, a vast, empty land of grass, wind, and brutal winters. No walls, no farms, no permanent homes, only horses and survival. Life on the steppe was unforgiving. Children learned to ride before they could walk. Food was scarce. Weakness meant death. Tribes fought constantly. Loyalty shifted overnight. Betrayal was normal. This environment didn't create farmers or scholars, it created warriors. But the Mongols were divided in dozens of tribes. Endless feuds, no unity, and then one boy changed everything. A boy named Temujin. He was born into hardship. His father was poisoned. His family was abandoned. He starved. At one point, Temujin was captured and enslaved. Most men would break. Temujin learned. He learned that bloodlines didn't matter, only loyalty did, strength did, and results did. Years later, that boy would be known by a different name, Genghis Khan, and the steppe would never be the same again. But uniting the Mongols was only the beginning. Genghis Khan didn't rule like other leaders. He didn't care about noble birth. He didn't care about tradition. He promoted men based on skill. A shepherd could become a general. A slave could command thousands. This shattered the old tribal system. For the first time, the Mongols were united not by blood but by loyalty to one man. Then Genghis did something revolutionary. He reorganized the entire army. Not by tribes, by units of 10. 10 men formed a squad. 10 squads formed 100. 10 hundreds formed 1,000. Discipline replaced chaos, and desertion meant death. But that's not the craziest part. Genghis Khan didn't just build an army, he built a war machine. The Mongol army lived on horseback. They slept on horses, ate on horses, fought on horses. Each soldier had multiple mounts, allowing them to ride for days without stopping. They didn't march. They appeared. Their primary weapon was the composite bow. Small, deadly, accurate at full gallop. Mongol archers could fire behind them while riding away. They could hit targets. Other armies couldn't even see. But their greatest weapon wasn't the bow, it was movement. Mongol armies moved faster than information. Cities didn't know they were under attack until the attack had already begun. And when resistance appeared, the Mongols responded with terror. But terror was never random, it was calculated. When a city surrendered, the Mongols spared it. When a city resisted, they destroyed it completely. Men, women, children, and no mercy. Word spread fast. Entire cities surrendered without a fight. Genghis Khan understood something critical. It's easier to conquer a city that opens its gates. Fear saved Mongol lives. They also used deception, lighting extra campfires to appear larger, spreading rumors through survivors, faking retreats. Enemies thought they were winning until they were surrounded. But that's not even the most dangerous tactic they used. The Mongols perfected the art of the false retreat. They would attack, then flee. Enemy armies, believing they had won, would chase. That was the trap. The Mongols led them into open ground, stretched their formations, then turned. Suddenly, arrows rained from all sides. What looked like panic was precision. Entire armies were wiped out this way. European knights, Chinese armies, Persian forces. No one adapted fast enough, and the Mongols kept learning. Every enemy taught them something new. They absorbed tactics, weapons, engineers. They didn't just conquer civilizations. They stole their knowledge, which led to their next evolution. Nomads weren't supposed to take cities. Cities had walls, towers, defenses. The Mongols solved this by forcing captured engineers to work for them. Chinese engineers built siege engines. Persian experts designed catapults. Cities that believed themselves untouchable fell one by one. Beijing, Samarkand, Baghdad. Baghdad was one of the greatest cities on earth, a center of learning, culture, science. When the Mongols took it, the city burned for days. The Tigris River ran black with ink from destroyed libraries. It was the end of an era. But the Mongols didn't see destruction. They saw efficiency, and their empire kept expanding. But something even larger was happening behind the scenes. The Mongols didn't just destroy, they organized. They created the Yam, a communication network with relay stations across the empire. Messages traveled faster than ever before trade exploded. The Silk Road became safer under Mongol rule than it had ever been. Merchants were protected, religions were tolerated, laws were standardized. The Mongols ruled through control, not chaos. Which raises a disturbing question. How could the most brutal conquerors in history also create one of the most connected worlds ever seen? Because brutality was a tool, not the goal. After Genghis Khan's death, the empire didn't collapse, it expanded. His sons and grandsons pushed further. Into Russia, into the Middle East, into Eastern Europe. Cities fell in weeks. Kingdoms collapsed in months. European armies were annihilated. No one understood how to stop them. And then suddenly they stopped. The Mongols turned back. Not because they were defeated, but because a new great Khan had to be chosen. The world survived by chance. But the damage was already done. The Mongols killed millions. But they also connected continents. They destroyed cities. But they opened trade routes. They ruled with terror, but also with tolerance. They weren't monsters. They weren't heroes. They were realists. They understood power better than anyone before them. And here's the truth that still makes historians uncomfortable. The modern world exists partly because of the Mongols. Global trade, cultural exchange, the movement of ideas, all accelerated under their rule. The Mongols proved one brutal lesson. History doesn't belong to the most civilized. It belongs to the most adaptable. And when adaptability meets ruthless strategy, the world doesn't resist. It breaks. And that is why the Mongols are not just a chapter in history. They are a warning.